It's almost like you're there. And here's Jesse Minter, one of the questions asked of him today, and you would expect to be one of the first. Relationship with Lamar Jackson, and a relationship that hopefully will bloom into awesomeness.
Lamar and I have had multiple conversations. It's been great. It's been great to get to know him. I think relationships take time, and so you don't become the head coach of the Ravens and expect to have a deep relationship with anybody. So those take time. We've been working towards that already. We've had wonderful conversations. Look forward to many, many more. But Lamar, I just look forward to connecting with him, helping him become the best version of himself, creating a team identity that allows him to thrive, which he's already, proven to be an elite, one of the best player in the National Football League, and put a team around him that allows him to reach that ultimate goal of bringing a Super Bowl back to Baltimore.
Yeah, and for Lamar Jackson, that is the ultimate goal at this stage. I mean, he's accomplished every personal achievement you can do. He's gotten paid. He's going to get paid again. He's won 2 MVPs. Nolan, we're talking about Lamar Jackson in an air quotes down year. His quarterback rating was 103.8. I mean, that's an incredible accomplishment. Last year was, off the charts, one of the highest in the history of the NFL. But Jesse Minter, yes, defensive acumen, and we're going to hear him talking about that in a couple of seconds. But pacifying your star player is going to be key. With making it still a team-oriented philosophy, not just to cater to him and make sure Lamar's happy at the expense of others.
Right. I mean, look, Minter's the defensive mind. That's his expertise. That's where he's going to thrive and succeed, and this organization needs it, right? You're coming out of the Zach Orr years. We need a defensive boost here. There's no doubt about it. But offense needs some tweaks, some adjustments of its own. And it can't just be ignored in the sense that, well, Lamar's the MVP. It's all good. No need to make any changes. No need to adjust anything. I mean, look, there's going to be inherent changes just because you have new coaches coming in. You have a new OC running things. I mean, he's talking about trying to connect with Lamar. I mean, look, that answer is fine. He's saying all the right things, but again, it still leaves up the mystery. Like, we're complete strangers to each other? I mean, you were here 19 and 20.
2 years.
Again, defensive assistant coach and a quarterback. You're not crossing paths every day. But get to know the guy? I mean, I don't know. Maybe a weirder choice of words. But
maybe on a more intimate level.
Yeah, I'm nitpicking here. But
yes, you are.
Look, that relationship is going to be key. It's not just the Lamar thing. I think when I say some of this stuff, people start thinking that, we're just smooching Lamar's rear end. This is a quarterback coach thing across the entire NFL. It's a working relationship.
Yep.
That's the way it goes, right? Once upon a time in the league was the dictator head coach thing, what worked? Yes. Can that still work in certain circumstances? Yes. But I think look no further than a Patrick Mahomes and an Andy Reid as to see why a copacetic working relationship is to everyone's benefit.
My point is with Lamar, it's not like this is a guy that cratered as a performer. He's still a high-level player. So it's not like you're going to have to reestablish him and get his confidence back and make him, hey, let me show you film of you winning MVPs and throwing 41 touchdowns for 4,000. Now, it's just trying to cultivate a relationship that is team-friendly for Minter and what his visions are, and to bring in someone as a coordinator who we don't know who it is, that is going to maximize Lamar's strengths. It's going to keep Derrick Henry a very prominent part of this offense. And we were talking last week, or maybe a couple of days ago, Nolan. Hey, Rashad Bateman's already stolen Instagram accounts, and Isaiah Likely, who's a free agent, might be gone. I mean, people ate well in 2024. A lot of people starved last year, injuries, inconsistencies, whatever the reason. And, Minter's going to have to bring in a guy that's going to have to make sure he can cultivate the best abilities of the personnel he's going to have. And I'm assuming they're going to add new pieces to that as well. This offensive line coach thing is going to be pretty huge as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, the Minter had the uphill battle trying to connect with offensive players. When he walks into his first defensive meeting or he interacts with the defensive players on this team for the first time, I mean, that should be natural. I mean, those players probably heard from the Tony Jeffersons of the world, from the Eric Weddles of the world, or even Odafe Owe, the most recent former teammate of theirs, of hey, this guy's the real deal, or, get the inside scoop there. Offensive guys, I mean, you got to win us over, right? I mean, you're not an offensive mind. We respect you, right? You're new head coach, but that's sort of more of the uphill battle is trying to win those guys over. And you're absolutely right. The OC hire, we keep saying it over and over. It's so essential. It's so important. You can't just go willy-nilly, and you can't just go, well, I really like this guy. I'll be damned if Lamar or anyone else on the offense likes him. Because, again, we get back to that pulling in opposite directions conversation. It's just not good for everybody. If everyone's on the same page, that's what's going to lead to success. You hire somebody just because you think they're the right guy, and they come in here and they start barking out orders. The players, whether it's right or wrong, you think it's right or wrong, they'll shut down on him. And the end result is not good for the Ravens. What's good for the Ravens? Do that.
Now, in L.A., still want to say San Diego oftentimes, with the Chargers, Derwin James, stud, Pro Bowl safety, and all of that fun stuff. But here's Jesse Minter talking about the excitement level he has of working with Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle is a weapon. He is a positionless defensive player that I would classify as a weapon on defense. And so as much as you can do to get a guy like Kyle near the point of attack, I think is what you try to do as a designer, play caller. And so could not be more thrilled to be able to work with Kyle. I've had a couple really good conversations with him already. And I know he's excited, and I'm excited to work with him alongside all the really great players that we have in this organization.
Yep, saying all the right things again.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine, like I said earlier, I'd imagine that, seeing that kind of player on the roster plays at least some factor in your decision on where you're going. And even if Kyle Hamilton wasn't here, because of the prior connections, because of how strongly we knew the Ravens felt about Minter, probably ends up here anyway. But it doesn't hurt that you can point to a team compared to, say, well, I almost said the Browns, but you'd point to Myles Garrett in the same regard. But you get the point, right? I mean, when you arrive in town as defensive coordinator, I'm looking at who I'm working with, right? Who do I have at my disposal? And Kyle Hamilton, if he's not the best safety in football, he's no farther down than top 3. So, yeah, that's an absolute weapon was the right choice of words there.
Yeah, and how much more can you get out of him? And, Kyle Hamilton's still a young veteran. He's been an All-Pro on a couple of occasions, including this year. He's been paid. Is there more that Kyle Hamilton can bring to the equation as a football player? He's been the Alohi Gilman guy. That really didn't benefit the Ravens when Gilman came in, and we saw 2 years ago, 2023, when Hamilton was a first team All-Pro. When he's that weapon, which you can use in multiple different ways, not in you're a safety, do safety stuff that they were doing in 1975. That's not going to help the Ravens. Be creative with his skill set, but how much more can Kyle Hamilton bring to the equation? I like to see more turnovers, quite frankly, and I think he's a guy that is a safety. I mean, if he has 5 sacks, that's great. But, I mean, maybe a little more disruptive in regards to wreaking havoc in the offensive backfield, too.
Right. Is his lingering around the offensive line, defensive line, more out of necessity because we're not getting pass rush from anywhere else? Or is it more of an occasional luxury to keep the opposing offense on their heels? There's no scenario where Hamilton should not be playing close to the line.
Sure.
Right? That's still where he's at his best. But at times this past year with Zach Orr calling things, it just felt like, well, we have no choice. I mean, Hamilton almost has to be up here no deeper than the linebackers on every single snap because we're screwed otherwise. He's the only threat to pose up there. But even then, opposing offenses can kind of start to pay attention to that. But if he's dropping back more than he would this past year, and then only occasionally coming up on a blitz, then you're catching people off guard a little bit more.
News from the Nest here on this Total Request Thursday. Last one for you on this segment from Jesse Minter. Who's calling the plays on defense there, Jesse?
I do plan on calling the defense. Great question. I think that's a strength of mine. I think that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here.
Hell yeah.
But I also think it's my leadership qualities. And I really look forward. I have a really good process, I feel, to do what I need to do to be ready to call the game, but also have the ability to be the head coach and to impact the entire roster, the entire team, make sure that it's our offense, our defense, our special teams, and that there's no divide there, and I know that I'm in charge of all that. But it starts with the relationships with the people in the building. It was particularly the players, and I think they'll feel my competitiveness. They'll feel my mentality every day, and I think we'll work hand in hand together to build a great team.
Feel his ubiquity when it's all said and done. But this is kind of what you've wanted. A lot of Ravens fans have wanted a guy like Jesse Minter who has a particular set of skills, and being a defensive genius-y guy. That's it. So he's coming in. He's going to call the plays, but he's also going to be able to interject when he needs be. So I could be the coordinator. I could be the play caller, but I'm also going to be the head coach of the team, where John Harbaugh, we assumed for years and years and years, in regards to actually calling plays and setting up plans, devising, he delegated. He did coach stuff on the sidelines, like mismanaging the clock at times and all of that.
Right. But for Minter's sake, I mean, it is a learning curve. So I don't really see any scenario. There's make no mistake, there's so much that he has to handle and navigate through the draft, mini camp, training camp, through the summer. But until they line up and kick off for that first preseason game, he won't have that experience of, all right, I'm calling the defense in real time. Now, instead of, while the offense is out there where I would go talk to my defensive guys, I'm trying to balance that with also keeping an eye on the game. I don't see how there's any way to prepare for that unless you've done it before. He was the de facto interim head coach for one game during Jim Harbaugh's suspension a couple of years ago. It was one game. It was against probably a D2 school, early a non-conference game. So it's something. It's better than nothing. But again, this is a whole different beast in the NFL, and he won't experience it until that first preseason game.